Ever think about, like how the government keeps tabs on itself? Like, checks and balances and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty fundamental concept, right?
Yeah.
It's all about accountability, transparency, the whole nine yards.
Especially when it comes to stuff like immigration and deportations. I mean, those are huge issues and they affect tons of people.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting because we're actually diving into a Ring of Fire YouTube video today that tackles exactly this.
Yeah, this video is, well, it's pretty provocative. Let's just say it focuses on some of the moves the Trump administration made concerning these oversight systems.
And our mission today is to try and understand the implications of those actions, right? What happens when you pull back on oversight on something as sensitive as immigration?
Especially, when it comes to things like civil rights, due process, those are cornerstones of any functioning legal system.
Exactly. So let's jump right in. The video starts by laying out this kind of stark choice, right? When it comes to legal issues, you've basically got two options.
Okay, I'm listening.
Option one, don't break the law simple enough, right?
Pretty straightforward, yeah.
But option two, and this is where things get a little dicey, is to, well, remove the people whose job it is to enforce those laws.
So that's where we're going with this.
The video argues that this is essentially what happened with immigration oversight during the Trump administration. They point to this New York Times report.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about this.
It states that on the same day the Alien Enemies Act was invoked, the administration also quietly shuttered 3 government watchdog agencies that oversee immigrants and deportations.
That timing seems a bit suspect, doesn't it? Like, what's the connection there?
That's exactly what the video is getting at.
Yeah.
And these weren't just like small, obscure offices either. We're talking the civil rights branch of the Department of Homeland Security.
Wow, so that's a pretty significant part of the DHS.
Plus 2 ombudsman offices,
Right.
one focused on immigration detention and the other on scrutinizing legal immigration policies.
So like the watchdogs for the whole system.
Yeah. And the video really drives home the impact of this. It says more than 100 people at the Civil Rights Office alone lost their jobs.
That's a lot of people to just let go. Like, that's got to have some sort of ripple effect.
For sure. And think about what those ombudsman offices did. They were like a lifeline for people in detention. If someone felt their rights were being violated or they weren't getting due process.
They could file a complaint and someone would actually look into it.
Exactly. But with those offices gone, that avenue for oversight disappears. And that's a pretty big deal.
It is. And it makes you think about the whole idea of civil rights for non-citizens, which the video tackles head on.
Yeah, the video is very clear on this point. The U.S. Constitution protects everyone on U.S. soil, regardless of legal status. They have constitutional rights.
So even if you're undocumented, you still have certain protections.
Absolutely. And those protections include the right to raise concerns about your apprehension, your detention, even your potential deportation.
Right. So it's not just about being silent and accepting whatever happens.
The video argues that shutting down these watchdog agencies essentially robs people of those opportunities to speak up and seek some kind of justice.
And when you combine that with the invocation of the Alien Enemies Act, it starts to paint a pretty unsettling picture.
The video doesn't mince words. They call it a lawless administration, where the very people meant to enforce the law are being pushed aside.
And they even bring up specific cases to illustrate this point, like PhD students, a legal resident like Mahmoud Khalil.
Even bakers and soccer players being labeled as gang members or pro-terrorists.
It's like they're trying to justify these crackdowns by exaggerating the threat.
And the scary part is we don't even know the true extent of it because the systems that would track that information are gone.
So it's like a black box now? We're left to wonder what's really happening behind closed doors.
The takeaway here is that shutting down these watchdog agencies represents a huge erosion of oversight when it comes to immigration and deportation.
And as the video argues, that has serious implications for the civil rights of anyone in the U.S., regardless of their legal status.
It's food for thought, for sure.
Yeah.
So as you're listening to this, I want you to consider this. What happens when you remove accountability from any system? What are the broader consequences for due process when those checks and balances disappear?
It's a question worth pondering. It really makes you appreciate the importance of independent scrutiny in a system that's supposed to be fair and just.